Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, giving all praises, honor, glory, respect, and blessings to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rachak Kwadash. Salutations to the Lord's elect on the four corners of the earth, pushing this truth and sincerity while patiently waiting for Yahweh Shai's return. And double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, which have taught us everything we know through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. And welcome to another series of quick and important information being brought to you by the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. It says, protesters storm government palace in Mongolia. Okay, so this is the latest of protests that have been happening around the world. As you may know, every day that passes on, there's a new protest going on. Lately, there's been a protest down in China. You know, people are basically wilding out over the Crown Royale 19 sanctions, and you know, there's been protests in Athens, Greece, protests in France, protests in Europe. You know, so there's been protests everywhere. It says the unrest was triggered by an alleged corruption scheme that involved supplying stolen coal to China. You know, so I'm not, you know, when it comes to quick and important information, I don't necessarily read the article, but what I can do is show you a video here. And you see, this is what happens when the wicked is in rulership. And this is just a picture showing you what's going on here. You know, apparently they lit a Christmas tree on fire, which is generally the spirit, because Christmas is a wicked holiday. It's all about the massacring of the anointed. So anybody who celebrates Christmas is an antichrist. You're against Yahweh Shai, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus. Okay, so it's the spirit. They set this tree on, this Christmas tree on fire. Furthermore, we know that the Christmas tree represents Nimrod's penis. Okay, which is a long story, you know, which is a video for another time. But just to give you a short story, you know, Nimrod, he got killed, and they found all of his body parts except his penis. So they used the Christmas tree or something like that to replace his penis. That's where you get the they use the evergreen tree to replace his penis. But that's where you get the Christmas tree from, because ultimately the Christmas tree is a evergreen. It's supposed to be a evergreen tree that pagans would chop out of the forest when they would celebrate the holiday. So let's get some scriptures on these protests. First, let's start with the book of Proverbs, chapter 29, verse 2. Okay, Proverbs 29, verse 2. It says, "When the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn." So, the wicked is in rulership. Okay? The wicked is in rulership. And that's according to Job chapter 9 verse 24, where it says, "The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he?" Okay, so when it says the wicked, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, that's presuming to biblical prophecy. You see? And that biblical prophecy goes back to the book of Genesis, the 27th chapter, where Isaac told his son Esau that he will have the fatness of the earth. And that when he shall break his yoke off of Jacob's, when he shall break his, when he shall break Jacob's yoke from off of him, you know, then he would rule. So Job chapter 9 verse 24 is based on Genesis 27 verse 37 all the way down to 39, where Esau was blessed with the fatness of the earth. So who has control over the whole entire planet in today's time, especially through their monetary banking systems? The so-called elites do. Okay? The so-called elites do, who call themselves Rothschilds, Rockefellers, with which they branched off into, you know, different countries. But ultimately, they control this earth through their monetary banking systems. So when it says the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, now you know who I'm talking about. The so-called white man, who are the descendants of Esau, Edom, starting with the so-called elites, who's responsible for the whole earth being in turmoil. And the so-called elites, they're not the only ones to take the full blame for it. You know, you also got to look at these Democrats, these Republicans, these prime ministers in these different countries. Yeah, they might be doing what they are told, but it still don't change the fact that they are Edomites. And they are totally with the agenda of the so-called elites' New World Order. Okay? The representatives, the Senate, all of them, all these people that operate the governments of these different nations, everybody who operate the governments of these different Edomite countries, such as Russia, Europe, Australia, America, you know, even South America, you know, Mexico, you know, they're all controlled by Edomites, which are so-called white people, starting with the so-called elites, trickling down to the rest of their nation of people. So they're the ones ruling the whole entire earth, you know, in wickedness. So if you want to know why the whole earth is in mourning, they are the reason. Now let's go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, verse 16. Check this out. 2nd Esdras 15, verse 16. "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So when you look up this word sedition, it means an uprise or rebellion against the government. What are some examples of uprise or rebellions against the government? Protests, rallies, riots. You see? So 2nd Esdras chapter 15 verse 16 is coming to pass down there in Mongolia, and of course in various other countries. This scripture is speaking right now. Okay? So pretty much that will conclude this video. Lord's will, you were informed through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai. Call Halayim La, Alahayanawa, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakha Kodash. Wa Brak Shamka, Awalamyam, Wa Awalamyam. La, Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, the Wada, Tawab.